I hooked up with my friend's high school best friend, and she's furious. Too long did not read. At the bottom. This is super long, I apologize in advance. I, 26 female, was looking for an apartment, so my close friend Carly, 27 female, and her fiancé Jared, 29 male, let me move into their apartment temporarily until I found a new place to live. They asked for a small rent fee to stay with them. I was incredibly grateful and they hosted me for about 6 weeks until I eventually did find a new apartment. During the second week of my stay, Carly invited over her friend Caleb, 27 male, who had just moved from their hometown. Carly told me that Caleb was her best friend from high school, and that she was excited that he was moving to our town after finding a new job. When he first arrived I actually thought he was cute, and asked Carly if he was single, to which she immediately responded that he was definitely not my type, and I shouldn't date him. Apparently he had just been dumped by his girlfriend a week or two before this, and wasn't in a place to date. I dropped it pretty much immediately and didn't bring it up again. Caleb and I became pretty friendly, but that's it. He came over almost every night to hang out with all of us, so we would chat about random things but nothing significant. My little crush on him had pretty much dissipated. I trusted Carly's judgment. If she said we'd be incompatible, I believed it. However, she was thrilled to have Caleb over all the time. She affectionately described him to me as the best cuddly buddy, and they would often be cuddled up on the couch. Since he was always over, we'd talk and chill together but nothing more than that. One night a couple weeks later, so about a month into my stay, I was up late doing some work when Caleb entered the apartment. Carly had given him a spare key, since he was fairly new to town. I honestly can't recall if he had his own apartment yet or not, but for whatever reason he showed up at Carly and Jared's at around 11:30 p.m. after they were asleep. I'm a bit of a night owl, so I was still up working. He then crashed down on their couch, which wasn't the most comfortable kind of couch to sleep on. It was one of those hard thin leather couches. So the apartment itself is a 2-bedroom. One was the couple's room, and the other was the guest room, which I paid to live in for 6 weeks until Elle found a new apartment. The guest bed is a queen size, so big enough for 2 people to sleep in without interacting much. I felt bad that he crashed on the horrible couch. Even Carly and Jared hated the couch and planned to replace it, so I invited Caleb to have the other half of my bed for the night. I'll be honest, this was definitely a poor decision on my part. I don't think it was appropriate of me to invite him to the bed, but hindsight is always 20/20. Anyway, he thanked me and joined me in the guest bed, very much on the other side. A while later I started to doze off and put my work away to go to sleep. Almost as soon as I hit the lights and crawled under the covers, Caleb put his arms around my waist. I was shocked. Looking back, I don't know why I was so surprised. I should have expected this, but I turned around and asked what he was doing. He leaned in to kiss me in response. In the heat of the moment, I returned the kiss. I remember actually being okay with this, but then immediately thought of Carly and how upset she might be. I stopped Caleb and told him I didn't want to continue anything until I spoke to Carly first. He insisted that since we're both consenting adults, this was none of her business. But I considered Carly one of my close friends who had graciously taken me in when I had nowhere else to go, and I felt like I owed it to her. So the next day, I went straight to Carly and told her what happened the night before. I told her that if she didn't want this to continue I would put an end to it immediately between me and Caleb, that I valued our friendship far more than a hookup buddy I had only known for a few weeks. She shrugged and said, "It's totally fine as long as you're both cool with it." I asked once more to be extra sure and she insisted it was fine. So Caleb and I became FWB for a few weeks. We had a good time and it was consensual, but we never had romantic feelings for each other. He wanted a no-strings-attached rebound, and I was totally fine with this. About a month after our interaction, Carly became distant. At first I figured I was because I had found a new apartment after the 6 weeks they hosted me, so we didn't see each other as often. I also thought she was probably just stressed with wedding planning. But then when we did hang out, she would snap at me, act really cold and put me down. It was like she had a short fuse with me but no one else. I became scared that she truly was upset that Caleb and I were hooking up for some reason, so I quickly put an end to our FWB situation. Caleb was cool with it, though he said again that it was none of her business. I was too nervous about losing a friend, so I just told him we couldn't be alone together anymore. Thankfully he didn't press the issue and accepted it. Unfortunately, things only got worse with Carly. She actually yelled at me in front of her fiancé and our friends one night on an outing, because I was talking about a video game and she doesn't like video gaming. I was so hurt and confused by this and didn't understand why she was so upset with me. On the wedding weekend, all of Carly and Jared's friends and bridal, groom parties were together, and there I met Jared's best friend, Vinny. Vinny was super friendly and he and I hit it off, but I was nervous that what happened with Caleb would happen again, so I only chatted with him and kept it extremely platonic. He actually asked me for my number the day before the wedding, but I politely declined and told him I wasn't interested in going on a date, and we agreed to continue to stay friends. Carly was not happy about this interaction, and the only reason I know this is because she sent a bridesmaid to scold me for talking to Vinny instead of staying by Carly's side the entire weekend. I was not with Vinny the whole time at all. I had barely known him for more than 2 days, but my anxiety got the better of me and I apologized and said I'd stick with Carly from now on. This bridesmaid then immediately followed with, "Carly doesn't want you to repeat the same pattern like you did with Caleb." I wish I could say that I stood my ground and told her it was none of her damn business, but I honestly was so overwhelmed I went into a bathroom and sobbed for 10 minutes. Carly had apparently told the bridesmaids of my escapade with Caleb, and I guess she deduced that I couldn't be trusted around the guys in her life. The final straw was at the wedding itself. Both the bride and groom's families flew in, and she had a cousin who all the girls at the wedding thought was attractive, myself included, but a bridesmaid mentioned he had a girlfriend, so we all dropped it. On the wedding day, the cousin and I were both in a large circle of people and we were all chatting together, when I felt an arm tug me back and pull me away. I turned and it was Carly, in her bridal gown and all, looking pissed. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You know my cousin has a girlfriend, right?" I was honestly flabbergasted and responded that I did in fact know, and that there was about 5 of us in the circle, not just us, and that we were all talking about random stuff. She looked at me and just shrugged and went, "Okay," and went about her wedding day. I was devastated. I walked out and cried in the bathroom alone and then left the wedding. I called Carly a month later and told her that her telling the bridesmaids about Caleb and me, and assuming I was after her cousin and Vinny, was not okay and she could have been honest and talked to me. She told me I was wrong and that Caleb was her friend first, and that I betrayed her trust. We haven't spoken since. I don't know how I should try and fix the situation again, but I feel like it's a lost cause. I appreciate any input. Should I try to talk to her again? Too long did not read. I hooked up with my friend's BFF from high school. I asked her if it was okay to continue. She said it was okay, then told me a while later she was mad that I did, and that she can't trust me around her guy friends and that he was her friend first. Should I reach out and try to fix the situation again? She's jealous of you and she thinks she owns the men in her life. You're probably getting more male attention and it's making her furious. Agree with everyone else saying she's not your friend. It sounds like you cater to the relationship too much between you and your friend. You did nothing wrong, in any way, and you had no reason to constantly ask for forgiveness. You're better off without her in your life. She affectionately described him to me as the best cuddly buddy and they would often be cuddled up on the couch. WTF? She's engaged but is cuddling with another guy on the couch in their shared apartment? Am I missing something? You fucked her backup boy and in her mind now they can never be together. Good women don't have backup boys when they have a fiancé. Carly is probably not as good a person as you think she is. You're ignoring the fact that Carly's a bitch. I'm surprised Jared didn't call of the wedding after it became painfully clear that Carly had feelings for Caleb and was jealous you hooked up with him. Carly's AB, by the way. She gave you the all clear, and then punished you for listening to her. She has no right to shame and demean you for what happened between you and Caleb. Stop letting this fucking girl run your life. She's not your sex keeper. This is weird as fuck to me. She doesn't own all the men in her circle. I don't like your friend. You banged her backup husband and now she is pissed. Update. I caught my girlfriend lying about her interactions with her ex-boyfriend over the past weekend. Original post here. Original post. When she went home last night she told me her ceiling was leaking. I told her I would go over today and look at it. When I got there I looked at her ceiling and then I saw her iPad. So, I read through her texts with her ex-BF. She did indeed lie. She lied about more than I had initially thought. There was no indication that anything physical happened between them. Nonetheless, she lied on many accounts, crossed boundaries, disrespected me and tried to hide it. I will be breaking up with her tonight but I am curious how I should proceed with it. I want to let her know that I noticed her lie per my original post. I want to explain that it led me to question everything she told me. I am planning on admitting to reading her texts. Do I feel guilty about doing that? A little bit. I also feel like she had given me enough reason to. Please give me some advice, Raw. Update to the update. First off, I want to thank each one of you for taking the time to respond and provide insight. Saturday she manipulated my reaction into making me believe that I have trust issues. I questioned myself to the point where I scheduled a therapy session for this Wednesday. Ironically, my trust issues were justified by her actions, but needless to say, I will still be attending therapy this time. I'm going in with a much different mindset with a very clear goal. Me. Now on to what you all have been waiting for. She came over on her way home from work and I immediately sat her down and explained that I needed to talk to her. Breaks in quotes signal long pause. I said to her, "On Sunday you told me you said no to coffee. You even doubled down on it. Sunday night you gave me a different story. When I questioned you about your two different responses." She cut me off. "Yeah, I backtracked." "You backtracked. Your stories did not align and I could not piece the two together. I realized, you lied to me. Because you were dishonest and did not provide me the honesty that I asked for, and deserved, I took it upon myself to find the truth. After I looked at your ceiling in your apartment, I read through your conversation with ex-boyfriend on your iPad. You lied to me on multiple different occasions. More so than I thought. I, very clearly, told you I trust you. You broke that trust. That trust cannot be repaired. I think we should break up. Looking back, I wish I said I am breaking up with you, but oh well, hindsight 2020. Her. I should probably go then. Yes, you should. Her. So you went into my apartment to read my texts? I went over to your apartment to look at the ceiling leak. I then realized I could find the truth I was not given. The first thing I read was your conversation with XBF. It was all I needed. I don't know if you were hiding things inside Facebook, or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. I did not need to look any further. She was surprisingly quiet. I have never seen her like this. I could tell she knew she fucked up. Nonetheless, another very long pause ensued. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "I hope you learn from this." In a very genuine way. That thought kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest, but it felt good to say. She said, "I always sabotage things. I thought I was better, yada yada yada." I didn't play into it. I had a bag of her stuff packed up and a few dress clothes folded on top in the corner. I pictured you getting a ride home at this point. Now that I think about it, I am prepared to give you a ride home, 10-ish minutes away. I want to leave this conversation with no loose ends. I don't want to think about when I will have to see you next, because there will be no next. I have your stuff packed. I want you to give me my stuff back tonight. If you are comfortable with that, we can leave now. She nodded her head, put her jacket on and gathered her things. Her tears started flowing in the car. Lots of sniffles and silence until she said, "I just hope that you think that you deserve to be loved. Because I'm sure you don't right now. If I thought that I didn't deserve to be loved, we would not be here right now." It was pretty much quiet the rest of the way. She said something about, "Are you going to tell your friends? Because I have plans with some of them and IDK what to do." I just stayed silent. When we were approaching her apartment, I told her I was not comfortable going up, so I want her to bring my stuff back down to me. And she did, and I left. Overall, I am very content with how I handled the situation. I realize that by not going into a single detail about the texts I read, I indirectly prevented her from having an opportunity to explain herself. If she wanted to explain herself, she would have had to vocalize the lies herself. I focused strictly on the facts and the reasons behind my decisions. I did not accuse her of anything. I did not give her a chance to be defensive. Did I have to give her a ride home? Absolutely not. I did it for me. Did I have to tell her that I hope she learns from this? Absolutely not. Do I deep down inside care if she learns from this? No, I personally don't, but if those words miraculously snowball into preventing the next guy, or the guy 5 guys later, from being in my exact position, then yeah, I'm glad I said it. You, Rondo Boomer, I cannot thank you enough. You spoke clarity to me last night, in a moment where I felt my world collapsing. You gave sound, solid advice that guided me into the position I am in now. Please continue doing what you do. You have a true talent and I have no doubt I am not the last life you will touch. Thanks everyone for staying tuned. Time to hit this therapy head on. Just say, I know that you lied about the circumstances with your ex. I respect myself too much to tolerate a deceptive, Lying partner who I had put my trust in. Have a nice life. Direct and to the point. Tell her all you have found out. Let her know when you came to help her iPad was sitting there with all the proof. Explain that this betrayal of trust can never be redeemed. You could never look at her with the same feelings since she has proven she could never be a faithful, loving, loyal partner. And if you really want to push it home, tell her you want her to remember what she lost. Then give her an empty ring box. I want to let her know that I noticed her lie per my original post. You will just get crocodile tears and gaslighting. Just drop her a text, "We are done," then block her number and move on with your life. Confrontations are only a waste of time and energy. Yay, why? Just go with, "Hey, this isn't working out for me." Tell your friends and family maybe, but you won't get any closure in this situation. End it by being very direct and to the point. No emotions on your part. You don't really need to go into all that detail about why you're breaking up with her. Just tell her that the relationship isn't working for you anymore and you feel like it's best if you both move on. She might act dumb at first, but she'll know why you're doing it. She might even act confused to try and get out of you how you know. Be aware that if you tell her that you read those texts, she will shift blame to you and gaslight you. Did you fix the leak? If you have to play Sherlock Holmes in each other's phone, you're doomed from the start. Kick her to the curb and find someone who doesn't make you feel like you need to question anything. My 37M wife, 36F, wants a divorce. I don't know what to do. Hi. My marriage is in trouble, and I need some advice. A bit of background. We're both in our late 30s, have 2 kids under 3 years old. I work from home, we have no support network, and my wife wants a divorce. As another layer of complications, my family are local, but totally estranged. I'm experiencing a lot of mental health issues lately, and I have a daughter from a previous relationship that I haven't been allowed to see for almost a year because my ex is a horrible person. I think I have undiagnosed ADHD, and am in the process of getting an assessment. It's another month away, and it's putting an even bigger strain on our marriage. I forget conversations, have poor follow-through, can't plan effectively, become emotionally overwhelmed very easily, hyper-focus on dumb shit, and generally am not a very effective partner. My wife is, understandably, sick of life. Our situation, no family or friends, my mental health struggles, major anxiety, about family and health things like COVID etc. all leave her with a short fuse and limited capacity for me fucking up. Things were going better for us lately because I put a few measures in place to keep on top of things, and make progress where I had fallen short in the past. Things like planning, communication, taking accountability, and other things that should be simple, but aren't for me, potentially due to ADHD. Over the last few days, I've made a few fuck-ups that have undone all progress, and culminated in my wife seeking a written statement agreeing to divorce. I wrote it out, in tears, and gave it to her. She's from a different country, and wants to take our kids with her, and return to a support network. I don't know what to do. I understand where she's coming from, and don't blame her, but I can't have things end like this. How do I approach things to tell her that I don't want a divorce? She's totally shut down, and won't talk. How do I break the pattern of fucking up? I'm convinced potential ADHD is a factor, and am in the process of seeking private treatment. Sorry for the rambling post. I feel so stuck, defeated, and deflated. Too long did not read. My wife wants a divorce, and I don't. She won't talk to me, and I feel stuck and alone. I would like advice on a way to move forward. Just because you don't want a divorce doesn't mean she has to give in to your wishes. She's her own person too, and if she's not happy, she can end things. My best suggestion would be to get a lawyer and figure out a way for custody with the kids. Your wife sounds like she's endured a lot and is done. You can't convince someone to not get a divorce. What you should be focusing on is getting a lawyer, and establishing a custody agreement for all of your kids, including the one with your ex. You're focusing on the wrong things here. Let's unpack this. You're not allowed to see your first kid. Courts don't deny visitation without a reason. Now your current lady wants out, with 2 kids who are still in diapers running around. I'd lay good money that you're the problem. Have you taken steps to treat your ADHD? Repeatedly making the same mistakes and promises with no follow-through is a sure way to push your partner to their limits. It might do you some good to physically write out a mental health treatment plan and see if your wife would be interested in couples counseling. You schedule the appointment. If you want to salvage your marriage, you need to come to the table with actions instead of unfulfilled promises. Okay, just from what you posted, you seem to have a major organization issue for your life. The issue as I read it is you talk a good game wanting to improve but you fail on execution. You whether intentionally or not intentionally seem to disregard your own plans with no remorse. You going running for instance is directly opposite of what she requested of you. By disregarding her request you are showing her disrespect and at the same time self-sabotaging your own success. If you're going to fix this you both need couples therapy and someone to help hold you to task so you do not stray off the path. Sadly I gotta tell you. It takes two to make a relationship and only one to break it. If she is decided on this it's her decision and there's nothing to do but respect it. Even if it breaks your heart. What are her reasons, like what has she been protesting or complaining about the most? Is it possible for you to start therapy? That is the only way I see you moving past this. Also, if it's not ADHD then what will happen? What will you do to improve? All you can do is talk to your wife and express how you feel. You can make a commitment to work on real impactful changes, but that doesn't sound like a great idea for you. Get an attorney. She can't just unilaterally decide to take the kids to another country. Stop getting married and having kids. My friends hate my fiancé. My 30 female friends don't like my fiancé. They haven't directly said that but every couple months one of them gets drunk and feels the need to call me out about my fiancé. He has resting bitch face and isn't the most social guy. So for example if we are out with a group of us and he is playing on his phone they get mad and ask why he is in a bad mood. I have already told them he just isn't as social as us and that he makes me happy, but for some reason every couple months they tell me they don't think he is right for me or that I am happy. Because this isn't the first time they have mentioned this I already put them on an information diet but I can't help but feel like they are trying to make me choose between them and my fiancé. I have even asked why they care if he doesn't want to chat while we are out or why they care if he doesn't look like he is having a blast 24/7 and was told they are tired of me making excuses for him. I truly don't know why they don't like him and don't really know what to do. Another friend texted me saying maybe we should all three talk about it, me, her and my fiancé, but I don't feel like there is much to talk about. I don't know what else to do and I am feeling very alone. Any advice would be appreciated. ETA. Sorry I suck at Reddit. This is my first post. To answer some questions, they haven't liked anyone I have dated. It's a group of party girls and the guys I have dated before just don't party as much. We have tried him not coming out with us before and I wouldn't talk about him or have him out and then that was a problem because, why doesn't he ever want to come out with us? I can see how people think he sucks for being on his phone. I just don't know what else to do at this point since him not coming was an issue and him coming was an issue. Thanks everyone for your thoughts. Has your fiancé made an effort to get to know your friends? Does he tell you how he feels about your friends? If he doesn't like being around them and they can sense it, that could be what they're reacting to. With what you've put in the post here it doesn't sound like they're trying to make you choose. Based on your edit he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Surprisingly it's not fun to be surrounded by drunks when you're the only sober one there and don't take excessive joy in drinking. Let him stay home if he wants and tell your friends to mind their own damned business. Clearly you're an extrovert and he's an introvert. If it works for the two of you and you're good to each other then who gives a flying fuck what their opinion is? When you go out is he on his phone the whole time? Does he make an effort to talk to any one of your friends? I would also not be too impressed with someone who acted like they hated being near me, so I don't really fault your friends if that's the case. I'm not a very social person, I'm very shy, but with my partner's friends I make an effort because they're important to him. If you're happy and he treats you right, that's all that matters. It's not that he isn't right for you. He isn't right for them. I would stop inviting him out. He doesn't want to be there and they don't want him there. I would be annoyed too if your boyfriend came and basically ignored everyone all night. Your friends only see your fiancé when he is being unfriendly to both them and you. Your friends like you. Presumably, they want you to be with someone who makes you happy. Whenever they see you two together, he isn't happy and I'm guessing that you, too, look uncomfortable. How, exactly, does he make you happy when you're not in public? I have a friend who married this type of person. Now she is extremely isolated because he doesn't want her friends to come to their house, and they have children, so she can't leave the house easily to see her friends. The red flags were there while they were dating, much like the red flags you're listing in your post and comments.